Hi everyone. So we're going to just delve into what we're going to be learning today, and that is how do we draft a technical proposal. Leila, welcome. Looks like you're there. It's going to be a two-person show for now, and I presume others will be joining shortly. So what I'm going to do, I almost thought I should make this a meeting so that it's interactive. Um, so I don't know whether I'll ask you to join as a one-on-one meeting or whether we could just continue like this. But if you have any comments and you want to announce your presence, feel free to um, let me allow you to talk just in case you feel like you need to say something. It's not a very big group anyway. So we're going to look at this proposal. Please let me know if your screen is clear enough. I haven't looked at it at all, so I'm also just going to start reading it like anyone else who is going to start drafting a proposal. What we're going to do is we're going to use an existing template. Otherwise, it might be a course in both using word processing and writing a technical and financial proposal. So War Child Canada is looking for a consultancy to develop a market-oriented training manual, deliver training of trainers in West Nile and southwestern Uganda. Um, there is a bit of background noise. Okay, so the terms of reference are to develop a market-oriented training manual, deliver training of trainers, training in West Nile and southwestern Uganda for the bridge project. So I'll be oscillating between this document, Google Chrome, and maybe Microsoft Word. Yes, Microsoft Word, the proposal we're going to be writing. So this is what is going to happen. Our first stop will be the template we're going to use. I could start afresh or I could just use an existing template. So if you're going to use start afresh, you go to your Word document, you can choose a new, and then you look out for a template that gives you something like a report. And download thousands of online templates that give you reports that can be useful for your write-up. Can do modern business report, you can do a standard report, and pick whatever template you want to pick. So that's the first part. Now, when you get a template, you will then decide the proposal is about training. So if the proposal is about training and developing training of trainers, then you'll have to look for a good image for your cover page, which is not necessarily a training, which is a training proposal, or an image that reflects training. But that's the layout and structure of the document. Let's just delve into the elements that are important. One, the goal is to develop a training manual and deliver a TOT training in West Nile, Southern Uganda, South Uganda. A person reports to the transfer skill education and transferable skills lead, and then it gives us a background. This is the call for proposals. Shall read this when we are going into the proposal. Then they tell us about the project. Project is part of MasterCard Foundation's Young Africa Work Strategy to address youth unemployment challenge. And among refugee host communities in Adjumani, Obongi, in Singiro, Kamwenje, Chikuve, Umbe, Terego, etc. The project implementing partners uh, prefer gender sensitive and inclusive approach, and they want to achieve two outcomes: increased access to market relevant secondary and tertiary education and skills, and then improved capacity of education institutions and teachers to offer quality and relevant education. The goal is to reach 73,000 people. What is the purpose of the consultancy? To support the development of a training manual, to guide market-oriented training and conduct TOT for staff trainers, 12 of them from two civil societies and 5 War Child Canada staff. And then they will cascade this training to 2,880 youth for 2 months. So they want us to develop a training manual and toolkits. They want us to conduct 2 TOTs and to develop a TOT training guide and toolkit. So here we have training manuals. They want 2 actual trainings and a TOT guide. Then they want a draft inception report, a revised inception report, a market-oriented training manual, one market training manual created, tested, and ready to be used. And then 2 trainings will be done, and then they expect us to provide all the necessary training materials to the TOTs. And then finally, the report of the TOT training and the toolkit. They want a mixed method assessment, consultation, review, and research, inclusive of the bridge labor market assessment report, which means they're telling us we should read a report that they have developed, and then they want us to consult um, with the CSOs and different stakeholders in and BTVET in project target areas, and then they want us to organize 2 training sessions. We'll be responsible for coordinating training sessions in consultation with War Child Canada. This will have graphic design formatted by the consultant with feedback, and it's supposed to take 50 working days starting December 11th. And then they're looking for a competent farm individual. The consultant should have a degree in agribusiness, business administration, or any related field. And we should have 5 years and above of doing similar work with references from reputable organizations. That tells you they will need us to get them references. They also expect us to travel. They expect us to give them a technical proposal, including a detailed methodology, work plan, and demonstration of experience. 5 pages. 5 pages is a tall order. Sample of similar work previously conducted, and then confirmation of availability. And then we should email it to that group of people. So where do we start? The first place we start is we go to our template. I'll use an existing template and then walk us through the process. I'll just re-customize this. And who is the client? What is the purpose? That's where we start. That will form the title of our proposal. Technical proposal for developing a market-oriented TOT. That could be it, or we could just say technical proposal for War Child Canada. So I'm going to pick this here and then say development of a workplace. Sorry, it wasn't a workplace. Development of a market-oriented training manual. Training manual. And I'll just move the stop. I'll stop the track changes. And that will make our work a lot easier. Okay, so where's my review? Not track changes. So here we will tell ourselves who is doing this. right there. And of course, here I'll write my address and say who is doing it, etc. That will form the part of my table. And then I have to go into the footer and change this and call it proposal for, what did we call the consultancy development of a market-oriented training manual. Development of a market-oriented training manual. WCC. That's for child. And then I can copy this and take it to all the footers that I have in the entire document. I hope it covers the rest. Yes, so all my footers are covered now. Now, where do we begin? After we've done that, the table of contents will come back to it. We have to write a proposal submission letter. And who did they say we write this letter to? We go into the document and say, they said jobs, we should be directing it to jobs at Uganda, jobsuganda at watchchild.ca. So most likely, if they haven't specified anyone, specify the procurement department or child Canada, Uganda. Then the email was jobs-uganda at watchchild.ca. So we'll just paste that and leave it at that. And this will be the date of November. I'll put it as November 15th because this may get done by tomorrow. And the subject is technical and financial proposal for development of a market-oriented training manual and the other requirements and TOT and conducting a training, a T of trainers for the war child Canada. Okay, so dear sir, here so we go into November 15th will be Wednesday. I hope my screen is clear enough for you to see. November 15th will be Wednesday. So we write this letter and we say, I am pleased to submit a technical financial proposal for, now I don't want to repeat this, so I'll just say for the above mentioned. And then we say, as per your requirements, I have detailed proposal which contains an in-depth methodology, a work plan outlining major deliverables, etc. And then I state what I bring, experience in training of trainers. What else were they looking for as far as experience was concerned? Go into the proposal and then they say approach, experience, working with local communities, working with youth, and then they see development of training manuals. Okay, development of training. This is, you capture it if you have the experience. I do, uh, working with youth. So if you don't, do not capture experience that you do not have. Productivity training, software training for various clients. Each the consultant help one approach your assignment from different perspectives. Okay, brings multi-sector experience, delivering multiple training of trainers programs in national and international contexts, specializing in talent development, sorry, training, technical assistance, project management services, private development and government sectors in human resource development and organizational development. Consultant believes that he possesses the right sets of competencies to offer organization outstanding work. So we're done with the cover letter, quote unquote, which we call our proposal submission letter. Thereafter, we go into a confidentiality clause. And why do we do this? I explained in the group earlier the reason why we do confidentiality clauses. And the reason why we do confidentiality clauses is to make sure we protect both ourselves and the client um, in the case of um, leakage of information, if there is sensitive information, etc. So the material in the proposal is provided for the sole use of War Child Canada, Uganda, for the purpose of evaluating proposals for the development of market-oriented training. I'll take that off. Providing consultancy services in the development training manuals, say a development of market-oriented training manuals. Manuals conducting TOTs or Child Canada. The details shall not be disclosed to any other party, duplicated, or used in whole or in part for any purpose other than to evaluate the proposed service to be performed by the consultant. The confidentiality clause applies to all pages and information in this proposal. So we are going to now say there's a page that allows us to provide what are we offering in summary. Because we are not very sure about what exactly we are going to be providing, this was drafted for another client. We will pause that for a second and then first go back to the request for proposals and see what they ask us to do. So normally when you're writing a proposal and they tell you 5 pages, the best thing to do is to start with a fully fledged proposal. And then after writing the fully fledged proposal, you can then go into breaking it down into a smaller set of pages. So what we're going to be looking at is, we'll first delve into the full detailed proposal. And why do we do this? Because if you win the gig, you'll be required to write an inception report, and 60% of a full proposal comprises another 60% of the inception report. So if you write a 5 pages, you'll still have to go through the painstaking task of writing an inception report with all the details that you are trying to run away from during the time you're doing a proposal. So we normally say write a full proposal, and then you can break it or compact it into the 5 pages they want. But in real life, 5 5 pages is really not a big, it's not practical because you have to demonstrate how you're going to carry out the assignment. Unless you just list bullets, which everybody can, demonstration of competence will be difficult to 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 bring out. So we always say do the full one first, then send an abridged version, and also, if possible, if there's room, uh, call back the client and say, "Are you sure you just want 5 pages?" And if they say, "Oh yeah, we insist on 5 pages," because if your CV alone is 5 pages, then you're literally sending only your CV. You're not going to end up sending the proposal. So let's see what happens. I'll start with a fully fledged one, which won't be done by the time we're done with this, and then move on to the abridged version. And that's the essence of this whole exercise. Okay, so here we go. We are going to now talk about the introduction. And the introduction is more about for Canada. And then, of course, you have to deal with logos, etc. If you do not know how to take a screenshot, it's Windows key, Shift, and S. Then I pick that logo and I take it to where I need it to go. My Microsoft Word allows me to change the picture. This allows me to have a brief understanding of what the client is all about. So normally here you summarize the background or the history of the organization, the operations of the organization in one or two paragraphs. And then we've heard that War Child Canada is an international charity organization registered in Canada, dedicated to helping children and their communities overcome the devastating effects of active post-war. The vision right now is accelerating peace by disrupting the cycle of violence, and the mission is driving generational change for the hardest hit by investing in the power of local communities. They say they've worked in so many countries, 20 countries, etc., and they are operating in what did they say? In 9 refugee districts, implementing education. So the relevant information for us is who is War Child Canada, which I'll transfer here, and then what do they do? So I'll just take this. Because now this is where the 5 pager tells you, I think we will not need all this information. So we will take only what is relevant. So in the 5 pager, this you won't take. I think for me, the other interesting thing is War Child is implementing these projects in these locations. That's what I'd look out for. And I'll take that as well. Currently implementing. And then I go down here and say War Child is working in partnership and they have a 5-year project, and project's goals. And so we have to show that we've understood, we need to be able to demonstrate that we have an idea of what they're talking about. So this assignment evolves around a partnership or a project that MasterCard Foundation is sponsoring, that War Child Canada is implementing, and through 2 different partners, and where it is happening. They tell us that it's a 5-year project by Foundation, MasterCard Foundation's Young Africa Work Strategy. I've worked on 3 assignments with MasterCard Young Africa Works, um, Young Africa Works agenda, and it's relatively familiar. So what we're going to do is we'll capture information on. We're supposed to give an introduction in our proposal, and this introduction is really about what we understand as the critical aspects of what the organization is and what it does. So I've picked out what I think is important, which is we've heard what War Child Canada is doing. We are bringing it down to the link between War Child Canada and what their goal is. And then we go down here to state that what is the intent, which is more like purpose of the consultancy or something like that. So and then War Child Canada was already abbreviated WCC. I think it's World Criminal Code, so we need to be careful. The WCC intent, and what do they want? You have to understand the terms of reference in order to be able to begin to generate content therein. So they want to support the development of the training manual. They want to develop it and conducting training of trainers. You get that? So I will pick this because I don't want to waste a lot of time retyping. Then I'll be saying War Child Canada at this point would like to, and then I paste that, to develop the training manual, guide, uh, to develop a training manual and guide uh, on market-oriented training, and to conduct training of trainers for 12 staff trainers, society from 2 civil society organizations and 5 War Child Canada staff. Then what have they done so far? They intend to cascade this training to youths. So if they intend to cascade this training, that is very important, because then we have a clue they intend the training to this number of youths based in the southwestern region. I think that's the intent at the end of the day. So now that we are clear who War Child Canada is, we are clear what they do, we are clear how this zeroes in onto why the consultancy, into the context, then we are clear now what they intend to do, specifically focus on this assignment. That makes about just the introduction. When we are done with the introduction, then we now go into why are you choosing the consultant? Why me or why us? And this is where you have to state what strengths or what makes you the best choice consultant. I'm doing this in Microsoft Word, so it shouldn't be very complicated for any of us. What makes you choose us? So I'm already using a template I've worked with before. Otherwise, I would have to work with you through step-by-step approach on how you capture these images and how you format documents, but the exercise is not Microsoft Word. It's writing a technical proposal. So first element of why you choose the consultant is you should be able to demonstrate that you have expertise. Okay, expertise in training, career advisory, global, regional, and national local workforce development. They don't really need human resources management, um, private sector, and business development. They wanted somebody with youth empowerment. And then what else are they looking for? Training of trainers. What else are they looking for? As far as expertise is concerned, let me go back to this document and see. Bachelor's degree, working with local communities in emergency settlements, and working with youth. We've captured that. 5 years doing work, training experts, market-oriented training manuals and materials, which is private sector, business development, uh, market-oriented business development, training of trainers. I don't want to add change management and corporate governance because that's not relevant to this context. Um, I want to say, what is the word? Working in post-conflict contexts. Okay, then what else am I adding? The consultant has multi-sectoral exposure, working in public, private, not-for-profit, intergovernmental organizations, and brings specific, not workplace skills. What was the goal here? The goal was market-oriented skills. Market-oriented skills training, uh, entrepreneurship, advisory, employability, and productivity skills expertise to the organization. So I bring all these to the organization. In this case, you capture what the expertise that you're bringing to the organization, and that will help you demonstrate what you can deliver or make it appealing to the client. And then how much you have in terms of experience. 25 years supporting training. Uh, let's add training of trainers, training of trainers, uh, youth empowerment, uh, entrepreneurship development. Apparently, my English is not very friendly. Coaching, mentoring, career advisory in Africa and Asia. Recent projects with Nation Media Group, Housing Finance Bank, BRAC International in Uganda and Sierra Leone. Um, yeah, there's a whole set of these that you could list, but you spare yourself the energy. I think there is also, in this case, it would be very helpful to capture PSFU, Private Sector Foundation. That's something MasterCard is familiar with. They also have done work with BRAC International. I've done training with humanity and inclusion, etc. Nation Media Group, Housing Finance Bank. They might not be interested in banking. They might not be interested in the media. Again, they are more interested in which kinds of organizations have you worked with on issues to do with youth empowerment. And then I can add Forum for African Women Educationalists, Uganda chapter. That is FAWE. And this one supports the girl child. So 25 years experience. I don't have a history with War Child Canada, but this is good for repeat clients. If you have a client that you're doing that you've worked with before and you want to show that you've worked before with them, that's the place where you can capture this kind of information. So organizational history. In this case, I will say consulting history with the Young Africa Works project program with MasterCards. Young Africa Works. They called it Young Africa Works, if I remember. Let me just look at it again. The project is partnership of with MasterCard Foundation. And what was it implementing? Is part of, yes, Young Africa Works strategy. You get that? So the work I implemented on Young Africa Works strategy was with BRAC and then with Private Sector Foundation of Uganda. So I have a history with that project, and it adds to Young Africa Works strategy. Conducted training for clients on projects under MasterCard Foundation's Young Africa Works with PSFU and BRAC. In Uganda, Sierra Leone. Consultant then leverages my institutional memory, my understanding of the organization's way of working to make the training contextually responsive. So I'm simply saying, oh, I've done work on the Young Africa Work strategy with BRAC International. BRAC involved training of people from Uganda, Tanzania, Liberia, Sierra Leone, to different occasions, to different locations. And private sector was more of strategy, but BRAC was TOT and delivery of training. Then leverage up to date. This time we're not looking at productivity. Instead, we are looking at aspects relating to program supports transition of work to dignified work and leverage up to date. I just want to probably say training and learning practices. And I'll not say whether we've taken up AI because AI is not a very big one for this cohort or this group of people. I'll simply state what the consultant has done has taken up the model of experiential learning and in improving skills transfers and will bring together to the organization next practices in leveraging uh, learning for greater training impact and capacity building. So this comes easy if you've been doing it for a number of years. Now I'm taking us through this step by step. Why? Because you need to, as you can see, you have to have an underlying set of experiences that match with the role before you say I'm now going to write a proposal. If you don't, you're going to have a bit of issues struggling with what to put in the proposal. So we've captured these. Why do you choose us? We have expertise. We've worked in different sectors. We bring 25 years plus. We are familiar with the project that is and the donor that is sponsoring you and the strategy that you're implementing. And then we have top-notch learning and training practices that we can leverage. And hopefully this is enough to convince the the client that this is something that will work. So we go into consultants' relevant experience and we say what we've done. We've done intra-organizational housing finance, where is BRAC International MasterCard Foundation, as you can see, August to September, training the trainer module, manuals, and conducting training the trainers. I just captured my experience and put it here because this was a template I used to write a proposal for training for another organization. And then multiple projects, global, we've done change management, developing of training manuals, we've done strategic thinking, we've done national medical stores, Oxfam, etc., etc. Okay, so I think the biggest one, there is a lot of training in my career history, so we don't want to go into that, but this is the opportunity where you can capture what client you conducted training for, what tasks you carried out, and the dates you uh, carried out these activities. This is February to here is now February to November 2023. Okay. So some of these are ongoing, some of them are done. As we speak right now, there's ongoing projects with other clients which involve training, but I'll not capture them here right now. So this talks about consultants' relevant experience. We've gone through how many sections? We've gone through the proposal submission letter. We've gone through the confidentiality clause. We've gone through the consultant. No, we haven't done the consultant's offer in summary yet. We will come back to it after capturing the gist of the proposal. We've had a brief introduction of who this client is, what is the context, and what do they intend to achieve. And then we've gone to the section where why me? This is almost the same interview question we always ask. Why do you think you're the best person for this job? And then we've gone into capturing what experience we bring to the client or the experience we bring on the table. You may have not so many like this, but yeah, it depends on what you want to put there. And then section 5, we are going to talk about the consultant's profile. Yeah, so this is twofold. This is again an opportunity to showcase what expertise you're bringing to the table at individual level. And so here I should now be saying 25 years international national and multi-sectoral work as a consultant, trainer and employee, business owner, consulting experience in East, West Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Americas. So we've done consulting across not everywhere in the world, but in mm, almost all the continents. Let's say 80% of the continents. I've been done work in China. I've been done work in Russia. Uh, I need to check whether the South Americas are there as well. So there was something I added. So I have to edit this image again and change 23 to 25. This can be done. I've already said 25 years. I don't need to repeat this. So sometimes you don't want to complicate your life. If you already have an image like that, I just superimpose textbooks over it, and then otherwise I'll have to go into another program and draw. So I'll just do this and cover it, and then I remove I format shape, and then I remove the lines, no line, and it will be hidden. But this is document formatting. So career resilience, financial career advisor, entrepreneurship practitioners, let me call it trainer, practitioner, and students. IFC certified trainer of trainers, process certified change management practitioner, and a certified transformative coach. So here's where you capture your entire profile, stating what you can do or what you've been able to achieve. And I don't know whether you want us to continue. Please write in the comments, or you want to get to take a breather at this time and pick it up from there. But so this is part. So far we've gone, as you can see, 12 pages. So what I normally do is, if they wanted 5, I first write the full proposal, and then I do an abridged version, and then I add a link to the full proposal, such that if they want, they can say, click here to see the full proposal for the for the services you that we are offering, that we are quoting for, or we are expressing interest in. So now that we've finished talking about ourselves, which is very important in convincing the client that you have the capability. The other thing that most of us consultants ignore is the presentation. How do we present our proposals? The proposals are supposed to be, one, visually appealing; two, sending a message clear and cut; and three, showing why you are the consultant of choice. And so that's the direction we normally prefer pointing our upcoming consultants into. Make sure, one, your proposal is visually appealing. Just by looking at it, they'll say, hey, wait, this person put in some effort to get this out and convince us. Then you say, now that it looks nice, let's see whether the content is right. Now that's where you talking about yourself shows how your capability matches with the demands that they are looking for, or the um, experience and qualifications they're looking for. And then after that, when you go into showcasing you've done this work before, so there shouldn't be any problem, you then go into, I can actually remove some of these experiences so that I reduce the number of pages. Just reduce the pages up to the point where job skills analysis. Just remove many of these. KCCA, ActionAid, the Gambia, Uganda Red Cross Society. I can take this out. and then I have a yes. So you literally can choose what experience to show. So we've talked up 5 sections now. I hope we were in 5. This was section 4, section 3, section 2, and section 1. Consultants offer in summary. Okay, there we are. Um, this is how far we've gone, and I then want to go into what do we understand of the assignment. This is still the easy part. The difficult part is now the approach that you will use, but that with practice doesn't become very complicated. Um, to Why do we use this section? Why do we write this section? We have to demonstrate that we are seeing the problem from the perspective of the client, that we are seeing eye to eye, that what the client is expecting is also what we seem to be understanding. And sometimes this is the point where you capture aspects where you need to get clarification from the consultant. And that goes in the next section, which we call comments to the terms of reference. So consultants' understanding of the assignment is very important. You need to show an appreciation. Most of the time it is largely copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste from the TORs. And these are the sections you could comfortably take out of the proposal when you're making the abridged version. But you have to demonstrate you've understood it before you make an abridged version of the proposal. My advice, write a full one, write an abridged one, and then put a link showing them if they want more details, click here and go to download their full version of the proposal. So I would like to pause here since we've run for about an hour and ask if there are any questions. Please feel free to type in the in the Q&A or in the chat place, in the chat box or chat room, and then let's see how we go with that. I'm going to give it a 5-minute break, and then if you feel you have the energy to continue, we can, or else I'll break this into hourly exercises. Over to you, Becky, Leila. Do you have any questions right now as we speak? Let me enable you to talk, and then see. If you don't want to type, you can talk.
Ooh.
Yes, Leila, I can hear you now.
Thank you so much. It is so insightful. I just wondered how 1 hour is done when you mentioned it. And hourly is good. We can take that break for 5 minutes hourly. That's great.
Okay, thanks. Becky is not on the, what do you call it? She is, I think the microphone is not working. But yes, Becky, if your microphone is not working, it is still saying connecting with your microphone. You can always type your comments in this. Take a 5-minute break. Go take yourself a cup of coffee or tea or something, and then let's get back in the hour. Uh, I'll not log out. I'll just mute my microphone. Okay, so I presume you're seeing my screen, and welcome back. Just a quick one. Now we're trying to understand why are we, what is the purpose of this assignment, and now that we know that the purpose of the assignment is, we'll just go ahead and capture this in the document. And the purpose of the consultancy was to develop a market-oriented training manual and conduct training of trainers. That we already know. You don't need to. What are the key tasks? The TORs tell us key tasks are, or the specific objectives at this point. So rather than key tasks, we just call it objectives. Why do they ask us to write this again and again? Is we do it, I used to ask myself, but it's already in the TORs. What's the point of writing it again and again and again? I'm like, okay, when you read it in the TORs and then you write it, it helps you deepen your understanding. Just in case you had too many proposals to write and all you were doing was copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. You look at the objectives, you've read them in the TORs, you write them. We always insist you try to type them, especially if you're the kind who hasn't done this very often, so that it sinks in what exactly is expected of you. Um, they want us to develop training manual and toolkits for the 2-month market-oriented training. They also want us to conduct 2 training of trainers for civil society organization staff and trainers, 6 of them each, and 5 War Child Canada staff. What does this involve in the terms of the scope of work? I think what else is they want us to develop a TOT training guide and toolkit, which is repeated. Now you can see the TORs were repeated as far as the objectives were concerned. The first objective was training manual and toolkit, and then conduct TOTs, and then again TOT training guide and toolkit. It's as though you're saying develop one training guide and toolkit, and then develop another one, etc., etc. So for me, I've already got a question as far as comments on the terms of reference are concerned, which will be handled in the next section. I'll be asking, okay, you told us to develop a training guide and toolkit, and you've also told us to develop a training manual and toolkit. Could you clarify whether there is a difference between these two that you want us to develop, or is there, or is it the same document? Was it an error of commission? So these are the things you spot as you go ahead to write this proposal. Now this document is live because submission deadline is going to be when assignment is expected to be. They didn't say, did they, or have we missed the deadline? Deadline is 17th. It should be this Friday. So we are trying to get this done between now and Friday, and sometimes you finish it in a short time, sometimes it takes a lot of energy depending on the complexity of the proposal or the requests. But once you develop one, it becomes easy to develop another. Now, for the benefit of you guys who have been on this call, I hope I will have your details that from the back of the registration. You guys will benefit by getting a copy of this template in Microsoft Word version, and then you should be able to use it for any other. This is one of many templates to use it for any other bid, just by repurposing the document to capture your content. And also, if you're not sure, you can always drop in the inbox and just say, oh, I need help on one or two, I'm stuck on this. As long as it's not a document formatting issue, I mean, I could help with document formatting, but it would be a little bit off the agenda. So as you can see in the channel, I stated, what do you need to learn or to know when you're preparing to be a consultant? You can see word processing is beginning to become a very critical skill requirement, because if you don't know how to do word processing, you're going to have a very hard time writing a proposal. The other thing I'm going to flag is, why do we have difficulty getting people? Why do consultants use people who are in business development and are not necessarily trainers? That's something that used to baffle me. Why? Because BD may have a generic view of what is required in a proposal, but very rarely, unless they are experts themselves in the content, very rarely will they have all the content required for responding to a proposal over and above the generics. So the generics in this proposal are here, which business development can feel. They can tell you, they can do the confidentiality, they can do the introduction, they can do the why choose the consultant, they can just copy and paste from CVs. They can also capture the consultant's profile. This is the part for BD. When it comes to section 6 and 7, actually section 7, comments with the terms of reference, you have to have knowledge of the content and context of the expectations of the client, as well as from an expertise perspective, to be able to respond to or to critically analyze what the client wants. So we'll go back to our purpose of the exercise, specific objectives. What is the scope? The scope tells us who we shall be working with, under what conditions we shall be working with, and what happens. But they also talked about some document that we haven't looked at, if I remember. They, when I was running through this document, they said according to some report. So let's just run through that and see what the report requires us to do. Program supports this with Upshift, with business integration, financial support, access that. Program supports undertook a baseline market assessment. So we need to ask if they can give us that baseline market assessment. They mentioned it somewhere. Let me just look at it, look for it again. graphic design, for experience, CSOs. Title in the email is there. Okay, that's okay. But I think I've left it somewhere. I just need to go back because they mentioned a report that they had surveyed that we need to have in perspective as we write this proposal. Um, they've operated in partnership is implementing part of MasterCard's foundation strategy address and the sensitive approach recognizes to this the project undertook a baseline with a market assessment to establish the status of young people in various parameters. Okay, so we need to be able to see whether we can get that baseline. Um, why? Because if we don't, we will have not very much as far as clues are concerned when it comes to the baseline. Okay. Here it is. Will conduct inclusive of the bridge labor and market assessment report. You get that? So this is where I have to go online and look for the bridge labor and market assessment report, and then I say war child Canada, or and we can call it master foundation. So what we can see from this is from higher education to employment, the mapping quality bridging initiatives. Okay, I can see an 88-page report from MasterCard Foundation online. So as you can see, there is a report which they might be referring to that we have to trace online. Bridge to the refuge from higher education to employment. So this one is a bridge to the future. I don't know whether it's the report they're talking about. They call it Bridge Labor and Market Assessment Report. So I'll do this Bridge Labor and Market Assessment Report. And then I put it in quotes in Google. So what we see is Bridge Labor and Market Assessment Report. All they have is it's reflected in the terms of reference. So we are saying show us these terms of all of them are just terms of reference, terms of reference, terms of reference. Let's see whether this gives us the bridge report, but there's a report by MasterCard Foundation. Employment in Africa, Kenya, Uganda, existing bridge initiatives. So there's something on bridge initiatives that we could tap into. So education, they say speak your right English classes. They say accelerated education programs. They talk of education for humanity, bridge to formal schooling. They talk of foundational courses. They talk of existing job linkage initiatives like Windle and Alumni, Rise Up, R2 Social Educate, Social Innovation Academy, and Skills Development Fund. So these are the initiatives they have on bridging as far as Uganda is concerned. They talk about the context and challenges. They talk about socioeconomic primary and secondary education. They talk about distance, financial barriers, documentation. They talk about early marriages, language, and then access to higher education as far as refugee settlements are concerned. Then they talk about employment, economic opportunities for refugees, work permits. They're talking about qualifications. They're talking about um, skilling, and they're talking about access to higher education. Then they have talked about existing. So this could give us an idea on aspects of the bridge initiative that we hadn't paid that much attention to. So um, where are we at now? We are at this point where we are saying what is the scope of work and what are the deliverables. We go back to our document and then we say uh, we've captured the objectives. There was nothing very clear on the scope, but there were deliverables. Okay, so the scope we shall take out and we shall just maintain deliverables in our document. Uh, the other one is from the document we can reflect what is the scope. The scope, who shall we be working with? That can be captured in the scope. Will mixed method consultation. Okay, so the approach which is theirs, the scope they expect us to cover, which is their approach. Our approach will be probably similar but different. Um the scope, who are we reporting to in our document? Bachelor's degree, ensure you develop, then you fill in child safeguarding, cascade, etc., etc. It's not very clear um, who we'll be working with, but we can say working with War Child Canada. Consultant shall, what shall we be doing? Shall use a variety of approaches to getting the work done and ensure quality delivery of the outputs described below. The training will take place, the exercise, rather than training, we'll say assignment, will take place in the month of December 2023 and January or something. Let's see, though, in the TORs, then you see they said 2 months. 2 month training, no. 12 trainers, deliverables. They didn't give us a timeline. It was quiet, but the training will run for about 2 months. And approach to training sessions, 50 working days, 2 months, 8 weeks. Okay, so yes, scope of work, month of December, and will run for 2 months. So I'll just say run for 2 months. Require the consultant to cover aspects of tool development, training a core team of trainers, and supporting the cascading of tools development, training a core team of trainers, and supporting the cascading of the training to target beneficiaries. Okay, then they expect us to consult. The consultant is expected to discuss with the WCC agree on methodology, program training in relation to the training, in relation to the training, in relation to the assignment space to the specific objectives. The outcome they expected was that there is approved market training manual, approved TOT guide. That's not an outcome. These are still deliverables. So again, they are not very clear on what they want to see. As far as we are concerned, the person who wrote this proposal should have said, what do I want the beneficiaries of this training to be what? To get at the end of the day. They will not, the training manual is okay, but an outcome is more of what do you do with what you've learned, etc., etc. So these are areas I normally capture in comments to the terms of reference. What is the higher level outcome? And then the outcome is not within our control. But what they've captured as key outcomes in their TORs is within our control. Approved market training manual, approved TOT guide, approved TOT's training report. All these are within our control, and we are able to develop the documents, submit for approval. If they do not approve, make corrections, resubmit until they repeat that process until the reports are approved. And yet outcomes by definition are out of our control. So again, I would be asking the person who wrote this, what did you mean? Okay, so I'll leave the outcome and then go to the deliverables, which is easy. We just copy and paste what we had. They want an inception report, They want what is the next deliverable? Revised inception report, draft. Okay, let me just do this. Copy and paste and edit because it seems to be the easier way around. Inception report, revised inception report. So what is it telling me? Give it a full stop, it refused. An inception report. A revised inception report. What they want. Following feedback on the first draft. Draft from Child Canada, WCC. And then number 3 will be a draft of the market-oriented training manual. That's our next deliverable. For testing. And then one market-oriented training manual and ready to be used. And then we have 2 TOTs conducted Then we have all the necessary training materials to the TOTs. And then we have a final report, the toolkits. Excuse me. Um, and then we'll have a final report, the submission, of the assignment. Final, I'll call it completion report. Okay, so these are the things we'll be seeing that we need to get done uh, as our deliverables. Specific objectives, deliverables. This is also easy and can be done by a business development person. If you don't have expertise, that's the problem you'll experience. So we've done scope of work, we've done deliverables. Now we are going to the comments of the terms of reference. As you may have noticed, um, comments to the terms of reference. They've given us issues which relate to the timing, which is okay. They told us 2 months, so we'll not have an issue with it. 2 months. They've given us the group size of the participants, which is okay, so we won't be questioning. What do we do capture in the comments of the terms of reference? We look at the terms of reference and see whether there were any gaps that need to be paid attention to. Why? Because they might be hiding deliverables and not being explicit about them, which means the expectations are more than what they have written. And if you don't flag it and maybe attach a bill to the time it will take, you'll put more effort than you have billed for. So this is where reading and getting clarity on every aspect of the TORs is very important. And that's why you need that section on comments to the terms of reference. What did we notice in the terms of reference? One, there was conflicting information on objectives. There are two objectives that seem to be repeated. So we'll flag that and say, okay, please clarify what you meant by these two different objectives. And then they talked about TOTs, market oriented training. You get that? Training of, um, let's go back to the context. Transition to dignified work, thriving in chosen form of employment. They did a market assessment, status of these young people on various parameters. Uh, who did the program support? So they did a baseline with the market assessment as an integral part to this. The project undertook a baseline. Which project? Bridge. Okay, so let's go and see what the baseline was telling us about. And then business incubation was done. They created boot camps. They provided financial people support. They were pairing people with mentors. They were doing annual assessments and adaptations. And then the project envisions the transition. Now, this for me would take me to the Bridge Market Assessment Report by, then I say MasterCard. Wireless bridge, diode bridge. So these ones are different. I would look for the bridge market assessment report. Nothing there. Not under MasterCard. Nothing there either. So we don't seem to be seeing whether we have bridge project. Okay, the bridge projects. So I'm trying to trace and see whether we have anything on the bridge project, and then whether there is a report. The bridge project, Mastercard Foundation. Yeah, Mastercard commissioned the World University Services of Canada to conduct a mapping study, which is okay. Ethiopia bridges implemented by First Consult, um, Youth for Work, Mastercard Foundation, Higher Education, the Bridge Project, Gender and Inclusion Advisor, Bridge Program signs MOU to create jobs. So, what am I doing? I'm going online to try to understand what the Bridge Project is all about. And this is what they say, a bridge to the future. And I think this is the report we've already seen. And this is the same report we've already downloaded, and that's what they have on their website, the market assessment. So it looks like online upshift business incubation boot camps. Let us see. Let me just look for this as well. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to understand the context. Um, I'm trying to understand the context in order to be able to respond and probably critique. Excuse me. So far, what we seem to be having with us is the bridge. Excuse me. The bridge project. So we go back to our document. Comments on the term of reference. What did we observe? They wanted us to do an inception report in 5 days, which is okay. What we just say clarity on the. So the first thing we observed in these terms of reference, which I haven't looked at, was clarity on the objectives. Okay, and the specific objectives. Consultant notes that the client um, um, what is the word? The client did what? Listed 3 specific objectives. We saw they had listed 3 objectives: to develop training manual and toolkits, to conduct TOTs, and to develop TOT training guide and toolkit. And so what we noticed was the first and third specific objectives looked similar. Uh, the consultant proposes that these are merged. Uh, the consultant stands to be okay. These 2 specific objectives are merged. Consultant stands to be corrected if and seeks clarity on the difference between them. These are 4 mentioned objectives. Uh, so we want them to correct us and or to clarify, in case the merger, their merger. Is merging them is not the client's intention. What are we telling them here? We are simply saying you gave us two objectives and they look different, and we are proposing that you merge them. But in case they were not what you wrote them intentionally, could you tell us the difference between the two? That has come out of their TORs. Now, I most of the times, if you have business development that um, is not proficient technically in the content, it becomes difficult for them to spot some of these flaws. That's why we say the best person to write the proposal is the person who is going to implement it, or the person who knows how to implement the project. Don't just call somebody who knows how to sell but doesn't know the content. I've been to client organizations with teams of business development professionals, and with a couple of farms in Uganda and other places. And the business development person is not a technical expert in that area. So when they ask them a technical question, they're like, okay, let me ask the consultant to do it, to explain. And I'm like, but if you wrote the proposal, you should be able to explain the content. So this is the hard part. Like I said, you have to be literally what we are doing is a critique of the TORs. We are telling them these are the gaps in your document, in your terms of reference that you need to pay attention to. So they want a 5-day inception report. They want a revised inception report. They want a draft of the market-oriented training manual, which we should send to them for review. What was the context? Because when you say market-oriented training manual, what do you mean? Um, if you're not very sure and you're new at this, then you go to Google and say, what does it mean? What is a market-oriented training manual? You get that? They're implementing this project as War Child. Let's now go back to the context and try to understand. When they say market-oriented, what do they mean? Okay, so if you have an understanding of what they mean by market-oriented, then feel free to drop a note. They are registered, they are doing this, they've affected that, they've been in operation for this. Now the project is implementing from secondary skills education and skills development to job opportunities for refugee and host communities. That is bridge. You finished secondary school, you've finished and skill development, you're going for jobs, and you want to address unemployment among refugees. You're implementing gender sensitive, inclusive to empower you, the young, and recognize their potential as agents of change. We want to see you access market relevant skills and capacity of education institutions to offer quality and relevant education, which means market oriented is what you pick or what you learn should be, at least from this proposal, what you pick and what you learn from the training should be something that makes you ready for the market, which makes you ready to deep dive. You won't need to go through a whole series of inductions and orientations, but you have skills that just make you hit the ground running. Um, Overarching program is to improve access to quality and relevant education uh, to refugees, community youth, and transition them to dignified, fulfilling work. It supports them in transition to dignified work and thrive their chosen form of employment or livelihood. They did a baseline with a market assessment as an integral part to establish the status on various parameters, especially on on-demand market skills around which this call is being made. So what are on-demand market skills? We go back to into online and we say on-demand market skills, market skills. skills. Mastercard Foundation. Let's see whether we'll get anything. Trace launch free learning. Trace Academia is available. So they're telling us Trace Academia is launching an online transferable skills. Three case studies that scale up transferable skills training with formal education and technical. So there's another report, market assessment of digital employment opportunities. This is okay, Mastercard Foundation launch free learning, 26 million foundation partner to skill aim. I was part of the aim market relevant skills with BRAC, blueprint for secondary education. So I think the easiest pointer for me is this one, which was launched in 2022, Trace and Mastercard, the free mobile app in Johannesburg, Trace Contact, Trace Academy, join the coalition. So Trace Academia is there. I think now for us we'll be looking for, okay, what does Trace Academia do? And then we look at the skills, customize my choices, technical cookies, usage statistics. No. So I can save that. They want us to start certificates or certificates, and they are created electricity, entrepreneur, DJ, digital marketing, Google Ads, situation, business skills, handyman. So you can see they seem to have a number of what of skills here. Resourceful reporter, satellite dish technician, jewelry creator, music career, entrepreneurial legendary skills. So this is telling you some of the market oriented skills that people need to learn. So in principle, they're actually telling us, oh, okay, we haven't given you these marketing skills, we haven't given you any documentation, but we've pointed you in the right direction. So tell us how you intend to develop this TOT and how you intend to conduct the training. So we've done a little bit of a very quick online research. I don't know how many of you are familiar with using AI now, but if you're not, I'll just take you through a quick one. Sometimes it is good to go through AI. I normally use ChatGPT and ask it if possible to trace for me, if anything, market oriented skills. So I'll go here and I ask the artificial intelligence that people are using, um, what are the market oriented skills that Mastercard Foundation is sponsoring the development of under the bridge, the Young Africa Works Strategy and the Bridge Project. This is research. Let's see whether AI will get it for us. It is checking online, looking at the MasterCard Foundation website. This is what artificial intelligence does now. Those days you had to do the manual research like what I was just doing. So what I'm just tapping into is AI, artificial intelligence. It does better than browsers. It does all the browsing and then it gives you some sort of responses. So it tells us about the Young Africa Work Strategy, what they are doing, and what the project is. Right now, they're telling us the specific training break practices, uh, implementing internal review, documentation and tools, reviewing process flows and templates, facilitating experience sharing with similar programs in other countries. It also offers support in recruitment, etc., etc. Okay, comprehensive approach, project management, software, health safety, human resources, ISO, technical input in the implementation of the bridge contract. Um, what market oriented, what specific market oriented skills are being imparted to the youth under these initiatives? So I'm doing research. Why do I need to do research? To be able to respond to the proposal with clarity, knowing if there are any specific skills. We've already seen some on one of the partnerships that they have with the app, with an app service, and which app was that? It was called Trace Academia. So Mastercard is working with Trace Academia. We've seen the partnerships they're working on. We've seen a few sets of skills. Some of them are applicable in the context of Uganda, the context of the refugee camp. Some of them are a little bit way out there. So I'm trying to see whether there is any other, and I'm trying to use artificial intelligence that is hooked onto the internet to do the running around for me on the internet. This makes your life a little bit or a whole lot simpler. I should have said list the market oriented skills. So when it produces its output, I'll just say please list the skills, and then we'll have an idea. But if you are in a hurry and you don't want to go through this whole painstaking process, you can simply provide for in your write up that I'll do desk research. You guys will give me the documents which show what market oriented skills you want to focus on, and then or I'll do a skilling needs assessment, which I'm sure that Watch Child Canada will say no. We already have that report. So we'll say, give us the report. We work with you to choose which skills you want to focus on, and then we develop TOTs on those specific skills, because you can't do TOTs on what? On everything. It is literally like saying, teach me how to design a learning course or something like that. Just designing a learning course, nothing specific. Okay, so it has brought back the same. Um, the strategy in Kenya, their digital skills training, they are doing digital professional skills training in software development, data science. Um, they are strengthening technical and vocational education institutions to improve employability of graduates. In Ethiopia, they are enhancing the competitiveness of the industrial sector to attract quality workers, capacity building, financial management, documentation, facilitating experience sharing. Additionally, provide support for recruitment, project management, health safety. So they are still, it is repeating. Software development is coming up. They are talking about financial management. They are talking about working with technical vocational education uh, uh, institutions. So all this we can see points us to that direction. Now, as you can see, the what do I call this? The writing of proposals involves doing a little bit of background research into what the client specifically is thinking about. So since they just said market oriented skills and they made reference to a report and they did not say skill 1, 2, 3, 4, in the comments to the terms of reference, I'll go back and say specific uh, specific market oriented skills, specific focus of market oriented skills. The TORs, the terms of reference, mention market oriented skills. You get that? Now I can go back to my AI and ask, so uh, list the variety and typology or types of market oriented skills. Let's see what it gives us, because my thinking is you might have so many market oriented skills. What do you want to focus on? So you can see they've already started listing the different kinds of skills. That is AI helping us. Otherwise, I could have done a Google search. So what I would say is, after doing a little bit of research, and that goes back to why we were saying as a consultant, you need to have a good research capability. So what we are seeing online is there is 10 different. Let me zoom this in case you're not seeing clearly. We have 10, and let me close the sidebar. We have over 10, let's just say 10 different the character types of market oriented skills serving different aspects of the labor market. They have technical skills, vocational skills, digital skills, entrepreneurial skills, soft skills, professional skills, financial literacy, compliance and regulatory skills, creative and innovative skills, language and communication skills. The proposal did not tell us which ones to focus on. So I go back to my comments to the terms of reference. The TORs mention market oriented skills and refer to an assessment of these skills under the bridge project. Um, the consultant observes that there are up to um, let's just say over 10 different 10 different um, types of market oriented skills, including but not limited to, and then we go back to we had technical skills, vocational skills, digital skills, technical skills. Now you don't have to take everything from ChatGPT, for example, from your online research without having a backing. I'm just picking this for us to have an understanding of what this looks like. Entrepreneurial skills, soft skills, professional skills, financial management skills. Skills. Did I add financial literacy, professional, creative skills, language skills? And language skills. So mention the need to develop TOTs and train on market-oriented skills. Consult, train on, train in, and refer to an assessment under the big. The consultant observes that there are 10 different kinds of skills. The TORs are, however, silent uh, on the specific skills categories for which the TOTs for which the client wants the TOTs developed. Okay, is the consultants it is the consultant's humble request that the client clarifies focus of the TOTs of the oriented skills. Okay, so again, in this proposal, we have seen they said we just want you to do TOTs on market oriented skills. But if you have been training for long, you will know that TOTs for training in entrepreneurial skills are different from TOTs for training in creative skills, or TOTs for training in digital skills, TOTs for training in something else. So when they leave it open like that, they are potentially hiding a lot of work to market oriented skills. Imagine just a quick search has showed us over 10 different what do you call them, 10 different market skills categories. So if we have over 10 different market category skills and they're just saying develop market skills, market oriented skills, they might tell you we want all of them. Uh, so that affects your timing, that affects your billing, that affects the level of effort you're going to put into your work. So you need to go back to them and say, what do you mean by this? You've told us you want market oriented skills, but you're not very clear as to which market oriented skills you want. Are you looking at soft skills? Are you looking at technical skills? They made indication that they are dealing with vocational skills. They made indication that they are dealing with students who have finished school in as far as the Young Africa Work Strategy is concerned. So some people may want skills to go to do jobs. Others may want skills in entrepreneurship such that they go and become entrepreneurs themselves. Um, as you can see, this is how we go through over writing comments to the terms of reference. We look at the terms of reference and we say, what exactly does this mean for me as a consultant? And if it is not clear for me as a consultant, I throw it back to the client. So far, we've discovered two things. Specific objectives are repeated. Second thing we've discovered is they are not very clear on which market oriented skills they want us to develop, and other things. I haven't seen anything here on measuring of training impact. So I'll be saying, so now I'll give you TOTs, you go and train. How will you come back and say this training has been effective? Over and above people saying I felt good at the training. So I could add another comment on measuring training impact. I could also flag aspects of how do we structure follow up and one-on-one support to individual trainees or trainers at that point, because you are simply saying you train these trainers and go, let them go. At what point will we say this trainer is fit for purpose, or should I incorporate that in the proposal? Um, where I'm saying after training we shall make them demonstrate, and if they are going to demonstrate, it will require a lot more time. That means it's an opportunity for me to make money. If I tell them measuring training impact, each trainer will be rated against one to three things from the trainees. If they fail to meet this standard, we take them back to training, training class. So all those are opportunities for you to make inroads as a consultant, also to demonstrate that you have an understanding of what it takes to train trainers, and you have an understanding of what it involves running a whole training program. Some people don't read these. Some people say 5-page proposal, and when you do 5 pages, you can miss out on these small elements that would have impacted the the entire program. But critical reviewers of technical proposals pay a lot of attention to um, this. Now, if you look at item number 4, we're going to go into another quick break shortly. If you look at item number 4 on our list of TOR's deliverables, they say one market oriented training manual created, tested, and ready to be used. With so there is confusion here on item number 4. Are you looking for market oriented skills? Are you looking for training on markets, the functions of markets, market systems, and how to conduct market assessments? So here you get some clues. But when they say market oriented, we thought initially it was market oriented skills. Now come to item number 4, they are saying no, you give us a manual with market functions. Okay. Are you actually saying what a market looks like, how market systems look like, how to conduct market assessments? Are you taking us in that direction, or are you pointing us in another what? In another direction? Now, item number 4 is why would you teach somebody to do market assessments, to understand market systems? Is that the focus? Those are the questions I'd be asking if I was now looking at this. So in my other comment of to the terms of reference, which may be in contrast to, I should beef up the second one, where we said specific focus on market oriented skills. The TORs mentioned market oriented skills. Let's go back. We might have missed something. They just want market oriented training. Okay, cascade the training, etc. Um, so I need to go back here and say, well, what is market oriented training? What is market? Because I may have misconstrued it and called it skills, and yet they are saying, for us, we don't want skills, we want training. As distinct from market oriented skills. So I'm again asking AI the difference between market oriented training and market oriented skills. It will go search the web and come back to me. Okay, market oriented training is educational programs designed to specifically meet current demands of the job market. You get that? Which is what I was thinking. It can be provided by vocational schools, college, specialized training programs, involves partnerships with industry. But the skills are the different ones, the abilities that somebody should have. So training is the practice, the transfer of skills, and the actual skills is what somebody picks out of there. So there is confusion as far as I'm concerned with the person that wrote the TORs. You want market oriented training, you want to cascade it to these people in this region, and then you come back and you say, okay, what I actually want is a training manual, but it should have market functions, market systems, and market assessments. Subtle to this is you're saying, as far as we are concerned, this is the problem we are trying to solve. The 2000, they called them how many people? The 2,880 youths do not know what market functions are. They do not know market systems, and they do not know how to conduct market assessments. And that is the most important thing you'll give them if they are going to deliver on dignified projects, dignified work. I'm going to stop here for a second. I'll ask if you have any questions, and then give us a 10-minute break, and then we come and push the final hour. Over to you. Any questions? So far, we've done 2 hours. Oh, yes, and your microphones are enabled. If you want, you can either do that or write a text in the chat. You can talk with a video, you can talk without a video. It's okay. So we have Helen, we have Rachel, we have Leila, Becky. Any comments, any questions so far? Why are we laboring to capture comments to terms of reference? That would be a fundamental question. Because now it shows you, have you understood what is expected of you? Have you understood what you're going to be doing? Does the client who has sent you these TORs demonstrate that they know what they want from you? From this proposal, whose deadline is 17th, there seems to be an issue that the client is wants market oriented training, but then they are specifically focusing on market assessments, market uh, functions, and things like that. And yet we've seen there are over 10 different market oriented skills that can be developed or transferred. Now, how do we manage that confusion? By writing comments to the terms of reference and seeking clarity. Because as far as we are concerned, if they are not clear on that, it will have an impact on my work plan, it will have an impact on the total number of activities, and it will have an impact on the budget. I don't want to be overworked and underpaid. Over to you. Any question, any comments? If not, we'll take a 10-minute break and come back at a quarter. This is 17 minutes past the hour. Becky, questions? Helen, Leila?
For me, you just cleared up the question that I had. It's like you read my mind. And I think
Mm,
that is clear. We are getting insightful details that actually we have been overlooking them, and probably that is why some of our proposals have not been accepted, or we have not been consulted again. So yes, I thank you for this session.
thank you. Thank you. Rachel, Helen? Okay, so I'm going to pause here. We come back at let's say 18, 20 minutes. That will be 10 minutes from now, and we resume and see if we can run another stretch. I'm not sure we'll be able to finish the entire proposal, but we'll go as far as the time we committed for this exercise and then move on to the next thing. I'm not going to log out. I'll just block my video and microphone and then come back in 10 minutes. Over and out for now. Sorry, I was muted. Welcome back. I hope we're all good. And just checking to make sure we're on the same page. I'm told some people are finding difficulty logging in. I've got a couple of SMSs, I mean messages to this effect, but let's continue. So we've spent literally an hour just on two sections. Um, the section on the scope of work, purpose, consultant's understanding of the assignment, and then comments to the terms of reference. We're doing a bit of support and of research, not really support, but research. And we've captured two aspects and a third one that came out that we need to reflect here. The TORs refer to an assessment of the skills, and the consultant observes that there are over 10 different types of market-oriented skills. The TORs are silent on specific skills categories developed, and the TORs number TOR TOR number, what do we call it? Actually, it's not TOR. It is key deliverable number 4. The key deliverable number 4 uh, suggests that the client wants training in, and we go to the TOR, they said market functions, market systems, and market assessments. Market systems and assessments. The consultant humble request that the client refers and clarifies the focus of market-oriented skills that they want the consultant to impart to the develop TOTs for, TOT manuals for, and to develop TOT manuals and impart skills, well, trainer skills for. Okay, so we've sought clarity on deliverable number 4. Then we'll go to deliverable number 5. Two trainings should be conducted. Consultant should provide all the necessary training materials to the TOTs. Okay, that is debatable, but we shall live with that. And then a final report will be developed with feedback, etc., etc. Mixed method consultation and research inclusive of the bridge, labor, and market assessment report. So we'll say, what is the next thing they've talked about? They talked about the documents um, not shared together. So the consultant notes that documents like the TORs, note that the TORs mention documents like the the bridge labor market assessment report with the structures like, and we capture that there. Sorry, and to capture it here, like the bridge labor market assessment report with its. Okay, so all these I'll take it out. Let me leave that just in case. But does not provide them as part of the bidding process. It is the consultant's humble request that the client shares this document or the links to it therein. Um, so documents not shared. We talked about this other one that I've just deleted was talking about one-on-one support. You could write as many as you want, but we normally say uh, three, four, five things, three key things that you see is not provided as part of the bidding process. It is the consultants, the client shares this document with the links therein. Okay, so if you're stuck, if you're lost, you can always ask a question, tell us where you're lost, something to that effect, and we see whether we are stuck and what support we need. So we've talked about measuring training impact over time. Consultants exercises is a one-off. WCC stands to benefit by investing in a training impact assessment after the training is completed and cascaded, preferably at a time after of quarter or 6 months after the training. This will allow the client to gauge the impact of its investment in training. So we are done with that. Let's not overdo. If I could use that term, let's not overdo this, and let's focus on now that we've done comments to the TOT, to the TORs. We've covered 7 sections. This is section 7 is highly skills oriented. You have to have an understanding of what it takes to do training. You have to have an understanding of what exactly they want to train in. You have to demonstrate there are things about the entire training process that the client hasn't paid attention to, that needs to be considered, that may have an impact on budget. So there we are. Then we move on to this is where I call the meat, and that is the assignment approach. Now, the assignment approach is where you now detail step by step um, how you're going to help them achieve their goals, or how you're going to deliver on the consultancy. The assignment approach is, in our case, I used literally like something like a flow chart or something like that, but there is a lot you could do. Nowadays, with AI, you can ask AI to help you do all this, but you have to know what questions to ask. If you do not know what questions to ask, you'll get lost in this whole debate. Just by show of hands or by comments in the chat, how many of us have used Chat GPT? Please just write it in the comments. Chat GPT by OpenAI. If you haven't used ChatGPT and you're planning on doing that, just put up your hands, because I used it as part of this exercise when you saw us asking what market-oriented skills are available. Just write in the comments whether you have used ChatGPT. Who has raised their hands? Leila has used ChatGPT. Becky and Rachel, please put up your hands or flag it in the comments if you have used ChatGPT. If you haven't, you can also say I haven't, because then I'll walk us through a short process. So this is my assignment approach. I normally use it for trainings, but haven't done it for training of trainers. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to develop a flow chart of uh, developing a training of trainers manual and conducting training of trainers using experiential learning design. So that's why I'm asking, does any one of you here have Becky and Rachel, have you used ChatGPT before? Please just write it here in the in the chat. It will help us at the end of the day to see where we can help each other. So what I'm envisaging is, how do I want to approach this assignment as a consultant? I want to conduct training. I want to develop a training of trainer manual. And I would like to use a specific approach for training, especially focusing on experiential learning design. There are different learning designs. I'm taking an andragogical approach to training, which means I'm training adults. And again, you can ask ChatGPT if you do not know, but it's good if you have a background in that area, then you know what to ask the AI in order to get the something that you can work with. So this would be a standard assignment approach, but it has been used in many consulting assignments. And then after I've given it to you, that I'm almost sure that that tomorrow you'll be the champions of using this approach. So I have to upgrade and find something different. So I'm going to create a new chat. I'm using the plus version of ChatGPT, GPT-4, which is very interesting. Um, I'm going to assign ChatGPT the role of an expert. You are a learning, design, and train of trainers expert. Please await questions to this effect. So this is how I work with ChatGPT. I tell it to enter a specific mindset, and then ChatGPT, with that mindset, starts focusing on the questions. I would like to develop a process, a, uh flow chart with subsequent explanations, uh, demonstrating how I will conduct training, how I will develop a training manual, tools, and materials, as well as conduct a train the trainer uh, activity exercise workshop using the developed manual. Um, the the learning training approach preferred is the experiential learning design. I prefer that one because these are adults. So andragogic approaches are best here. And then I would like to develop a chart. But what else am I looking for that will enrich my proposal? Again, this can be an element of research, or you can do it the hard way, the way we used to do it. You sit down and think and conceptualize until you get your solution. So I'd like to develop a flow chart with subsequent explanation. I'll develop training manual. Uh, the focus content is is around market oriented. skills. Um, so I would say draw a sequential flow chart, and then two, uh, develop detailed explanations for each step in the uh, flow chart, and then um, adapt it to the experiential learning design approach. So this is what I would give ChatGPT. I'm doing it for purposes of demonstrating. Though I'd probably look for. So as you can see, they've given you a step-by-step approach which you can just carry, and then it gives you detailed explanations which you can pick by way of your uh, survey. I mean, by way you can pick and capture in your document. But as you uh, developing or picking these, you have to be very careful to be sure that when you're called to explain, you are able to explain each and every of these and give details, and also um, demonstrate that you have an understanding. You get that? So, learning by doing is the principle of experiential learning design. So, what somebody can do is just pick all these outlines, basically your activity planning approach, and let me just say create a diagram depicting the sequence of activities. So I would ask you to create a flow chart, stroke flow chart described. Now this is the okay. So ChatGPT is analyzing. This is the plus version. I'm not sure the other version would be able to do this. Um, I have a Q and A. Okay. So Rachel says she has used ChatGPT as well. Um, yep, before she went. So it's going to create a flow chart, which flow chart then I can incorporate into my proposal, or I go through the manual approach we used to use those days of insert flow chart, and then we go through the process of developing. That's why I keep telling people, you guys are lucky you are born in this day and age where 90% of the work has been automated, and you can get your results done within a very short time. So this assignment approach will capture the flow chart there, and or will modify our flow chart depending on what we have learned from ChatGPT, and then it's now giving us a flow chart. Unfortunately, the flow chart is not showing nothing. Okay. Oh, it's a long one, eh? I don't know why it's not really coming so clearly, but yes, it has given me something close to a flowchart. Visually, what does it say here? View analysis. I don't want to view the analysis. I just wanted to. Okay, so let me say incorporating experiential design elements, designing tools, pilot testing, revised training manuals. Okay, so let's say make it a one-page flow chart, um, capturing the moving horizontally, uh, in a horizontal workflow. This is vertical, yes, horizontal workflow, highlighting the key activity, the key interventions without the details. So again, I'm just giving you the cheat sheet. Otherwise, I'm not supposed to train you on the cheat sheet. I'm supposed to train you on doing it the hard way. Remember the time when our parents used to say, use your head, don't use a calculator, and that was really trouble for most of us. Uh, yeah, so here we are. We we now have it analyzing. We'll get a flowchart. Otherwise, I could use for purposes of this demonstration the flowchart or the stepwise approach that was okay. I still don't like the images it is giving me. uh, so I have to dig deep into GPT with DAL E. Yes, I'm using GPT with DAL E, but that's okay, no problem. So um, but it has given me, I could still pick the whole list here and just capture this in a flow chart. Again, you have um, 10, it's a 10-step process. uh, what is this 10-step process? Our flowchart will begin with document review, needs assessment, document review, and building consensus with uh, WCC, that is the client. Then we'll say needs assessment. But for TOT, when you do a document review, you don't need to do a needs that. It may comprise your needs assessment. So document review, um, and then we'll say needs assessment. Here they said we need assessment. I would rather capture it with document review and needs assessment and build consensus with the client. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So after that, going back to ChatGPT, they say defining learning objectives, developing a training manual. Okay. Then developing the training TOT and training manuals. There are two documents there, by the way. Then we shall design training tools and materials. And then we shall pilot and revise, pilot test and revise. Uh, Pilot DOT. I want to put those together uh, and revise. And then this flowchart I had earlier was for implementation of training, not TOT. So it was just to go there, do the training, and get out of here. Now we are modifying this to reflect us doing the TOT. And then I go into planning the TOT workshop. Uh, TOT workshop, we'll modify as we go. I'm just using this as a quote unquote cheat sheet, so that at the bare minimum we have something to walk away with. Conducting the training workshop, feedback and evaluation. TOT. And then we go into feedback and evaluation, training evaluation and feedback. And then I'll go here and create another bullet and then call it final revision, final TOT document and training report. Then I can change this color to something that is different. We've already got blue there, we've got dark blue. Yes, let me give it a lavenderish purplish. Final TOT and document. So this sequence of events is what we'll have as our assignment approach, and then from there the explanation of the uh, WCC participatory consultants and WCC participatory learning process. So we'll not call it participatory learning, we shall just call it, I'll call it learning design implementation. I'll just say experiential learning. I can't use the word design. Experiential learning. Let's see whether there is another word for design. Shift F7. Learning approach. Let's just use the word approach. Learning, draft, pattern, motif, device, approach. Learning. Design. Implementation process. It's learning, design, and implementation process. Okay, so there we are. We've now got the gist of this. I'm probably going to stop at this point and just show you what goes now into the table. So this table has been developed to just provide the details of each of these steps. So what I normally do is when it comes to a proposal for training, I just pull each element here and then I capture it in the subheading, formatting, and then I go ahead and capture the narrative here. So if you've used ChatGPT and you don't want to struggle, you can capture the narrative there. You just have to be sensitive to the fact that you need to be able to reflect the context. Now, so this is a basic introduction. Proposes to use in the introduction talks about in developing the TOTs and building capacity. TOTs and training the trainers in market-oriented skills. So, and conducting of TOT manuals and conducting training the trainers in market-oriented skills. Process creates planning right from the preparatory to follow-up stages. It draws from our trainer's wide experience, blah blah blah. So I'll just pick all these subtitles and paste them in the sections on the table. So what I normally do for me here is I uh, I split my documents in Microsoft Word. How do I split? I split the window so that I have what I am copying up here and what I'm pasting down here. So I have two split windows, and then I just copy from here and go to the next, which was developing uh, training manuals. I use merge formatting, not because I can't press Control V, but because I want the text to look the same as I want it, as it has been in the table. Developing, planning. Oh, sorry, I should be coming down here. Designing training tools and materials. And I go there. So in the inception report is where this methodology, this approach will be helpful, but also um, you could have another specific flow chart for actual implementation of the training, and that is also very important. Pilot and revise, planning, TOT workshop. Uh, okay. Then I go down to conducting the TOT workshop. Come on. Okay. 2012. So I'll just write it here. And then I go down to training evaluation and feedback. And then I'll say final TOT document materials and training report. Okay. So those will be the list of things that we need to be able to do. Now, when I'm conducting the actual training, I subsequently go and write an outline of what the training should look like. And then I look at, this was workplace skills. I list the sample outline, and then I add a comment that says this outline shall be polished, and we shall agree on what to do with it after. And then I talk about how we shall go about delivering the training, and then I go into work planning. So for today, if we want to continue from not today, continue today, but the next live demo, we should be able to ask ourselves, um, go into the details of providing narratives for this, work planning, and budgeting. So how much do we bill for a service like what? A service like this. This was, I think, a 2-day training, and just made only about $2,000, which is not bad for a typical African when you're making that kind of intervention. So I'm going to stop here and ask if there are any questions. Again, for those of you who have hung in there up to this point, I will share a word version of this. Please send me a WhatsApp message with your email address, because many people registered, but not all of them have attended. So I want this to be a benefit for whoever has joined this session and has hung in there till this moment. And if you feel you're interested in running through up to the end, which is now after completing the, what is the word? Completing the detailed approach, and then going into work planning, and then going into developing a financial proposal, we'll definitely continue with that. We just have to agree when. Uh, the trick about this proposal is it is going to be submitted in the next 2 days, but we can still use it as a point of learning. It's just that I will have done the writing by then. Yeah, so if you have any questions, Leila, you can ask. Rachel, you can ask. Oh, yes, I'm seeing questions here. Um, okay, so yes, Leila, do you have a question? Okay, you are in listen only mode. Let me allow you to talk. Sorry, I hadn't done the enabling of conversation. Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yes. Um, I really don't have a question, but looking forward to the
Mm,
next session. I have really
mm,
learned a lot. Kumbe, there are those nitty gritties about proposal when you're writing it. You have to be very keen on that. We have been overlooking. Personally, I have been overlooking and trying to defend myself in saying maybe that person was in a rush when when giving us this, or it is just one thing they have used different words. So we just continue with that concept, that generalization, and I see it's quite costly if you don't look into each and every one and understand what they really need when you're doing the proposal.
yeah, thanks for flagging that. I call them fatal decisions when you write and you lose out on account of not paying attention to detail. My only observation in the context of Uganda, Leila, you sound like you're my sister from across the border. Um, I like you're from Kenya. Your accent is like a little bit like mine. Um, in Uganda, you can be penalized for knowing a lot, and then you can. You can be penalized for knowing a lot, and so when you show the person who wrote the TORs that they aren't very clear, if they are not the kinds that want to are humble enough to say, oh, I should have corrected that, they'll say you're coming with too much knowledge, or you're being too academic. That's the word we use in Uganda. In Kenya, for the work I've done in Kenya, most of the times they are open to critique, and they take it in good faith. So yes, it depends on where you are. It reminds me of a very good programmer who I worked with, who said when he started his career, he used to think when you write beautiful lines of code with explanations for each line of code in the software application you're developing, that's the gold standard. Then he discovered clients don't give a clue. As long as they click here and it gives them what they want, they don't care how beautiful the code was written, and yet those are the hours the programmer spent writing writing the code. So it's a delicate balance. You just have to know your client. But I'm glad you've got something. You've been able to flag something um, that you can pay attention to. So yes, with that, I would like to stop here. If there are no other comments, I shall share in the community what next steps to take. But you can just share your email. Like if you want, I give you this raw as is. If you're trying to express interest in something similar, you have something to go with, or else I'm sure some of you even have better templates. The beauty is more about the how than the what. So once you know the how and the what of each step, it is better than looking at it as just this is a standard template for training, this is a standard template for recruitment, etc., etc. So that's the approach we're going to take. I'm going to say Asante, um, and thank you for joining for this long, for your dedication. I also always opened up the floor to people who do consulting like me. Sometimes some of us have expertise in some areas and you people have expertise in another area. If there's room for collaboration and you feel there's this gig we can participate in, yes, give us a shout and we co-write or we co-author. If you're new to the business and you want to step out, you may have the networks and I have the writing ability. Then I do the writing and you do this. We do the skinning and we share the animal. That's the way we work in consulting. So thank you very much, and I'm going to sign out for today and wish you all the best. Have a good day and take care.